Hi, my name's Leo and I work as a business broker here in Denver, Colorado. I represent those looking to sell their small businesses. I then manage that transaction for small business owners. In a previous video, I introduced the concept of seller financing. In this video, I want to talk a little bit about the pros and the cons of seller financing and why a business owner who wishes to sell their business might pursue this path. Seller financing means the business owner who wants to sell his or her business will act as the bank or the financier to the transaction. A well-qualified buyer would bring a large down payment to the table, and the owner will loan the rest of the purchase price to the buyer over the next several years at mutually agreed upon terms. Here are just a few reasons why a seller may wish to pursue seller financing. Number one, it increases the chance a deal will go through. Whenever a bank is involved, a business sale may hit some bumps in the road. Banks and lenders want to minimize risk, plain and simple. A bank also wants to ensure that a buyer is well qualified and the business is rock solid. The bank may take a really long time to process the loan, and in that time, the deal could fall apart. With seller financing, there's a better chance the deal will actually survive and make it to the closing table. Seller financing also gives your buyer confidence that you as the seller have faith in the business. By agreeing to finance the deal, you are telling a potential buyer that you believe so strongly in this business that you're willing to take on the risk. That goes a long way with a buyer. Number two, with seller financing, the business owner may be able to fetch a slightly higher price for his or her business. Again, when a bank is involved, they will scrutinize the purchase price of the business and may actually wish to lower the asking price to fit their lending models. If the seller acts as the financier, there's a bit more wiggle room in pricing and negotiations, and the seller may actually be able to secure a slightly higher asking price. And finally, number three, let's talk about that interest rate. When a seller finances the purchase, the seller will be paid over the course of several years, or whatever the two parties agree upon. Over that time period, the seller will earn interest payments on the loan amount. And in today's market, a seller could realistically earn 6 to 9% interest on the loan. That could add up really quickly and end up putting more money in the seller's pocket. Here's an example. Let's say you sell your business for $500,000. You agree to finance 70% of the deal. A well-qualified buyer comes along and gives you 30% down or $150,000 cash up front as a down payment. You agree to finance the remaining $350,000 over 7 years at 8% interest. Once that loan is completely paid off, the seller will have received his or her original $350,000 plus $108,000 in interest payments. That's 21% over the original sales price. That's a huge motivation to do seller financing. Those are just some of the reasons why a seller might choose to engage in seller financing. Now, we should look at some of the reasons a seller may want to avoid seller financing. One, the most obvious here is risk. When you agree to finance the sale, you assume all the financial risk. If the new owner struggles in the business, or he or she may struggle to make those monthly payments, if they eventually default on the loan, your only recourse is to take the business back into your possession. And if the buyer did a poor job with the business in that time, then you would be tasked with turning things around. Another negative aspect of seller financing is interest. You'll want to do your research when it comes to appropriate interest rates. You may be able to make more interest on a different investment, say the stock market or real estate, and not have the same level of risk of financing your business sale. If you do consider seller financing, make sure you charge a high enough interest rate to make a strong ROI. Otherwise, it won't be worth the risk. And finally, cash up front. When you use a bank to finance this business sale, you'll walk away with the purchase price amount at closing. The bank will write you a check and then handle the payments with the new buyer. You get to walk away with a very large check and not look back. If you choose to finance your own deal, you'll walk away from the closing table with only the down payment you've agreed to. That could only be 20 or 40% of the entire purchase price, or whatever the two parties agree upon. So you'll walk away with less cash up front. Therefore, you should be comfortable with those monthly payments over the next few years. Those are just a few of the pros and cons of financing your own small business sale. If this video is helpful, or if you have comments or questions, please leave me a note in the comments section or shoot me an email at leo@vrmilehigh.com. I'd love to connect with you and learn more about your business, your successes, and the challenges you face as a small business owner. And if retirement is on the horizon for you, let's talk about a strong exit strategy for your small business. Again, my name's Leo, and I work as a business broker here in Denver, Colorado. Thanks so much for tuning in.